So you definitely want to prevent against SQL injections, but the way you usually do that isn't directly through SQL. It's actually in your server-side code language, which might be ASP.NET or PHP. Basically, you need to write this in order to process that input into a form. So if you are writing all the code, then this part again is done in ASP.NET or PHP, which is a little bit outside of the scope of this class, but this class does go well with the fastest way to learn PHP guaranteed class. In any regard, the effective, proven, and currently the most widely accepted way of preventing against SQL injection is to use SQL parameters. And SQL parameters are values that are added to an SQL query at execution in a controlled fashion. So basically, when the query is being executed, or when, in this case, more specifically, when the information submitted through a form is being processed, you're going to want to basically add a parameter to the SQL query to basically mess it up if it's trying to mess with your system. So this is what that would look like in PHP. If you're familiar with PHP, you might understand this statement. I'm not going to dissect it in detail, but we will go through it in more detail in the fastest way to learn PHP guaranteed class. But like I said, if you're using SQL for web development, if you're using it as a marketer to pull data out of a database or put data in a database directly, you really don't need to know this. The only reason you'd need to know this is if you're creating a website with PHP, SQL, HTML, and CSS, or maybe you don't use PHP, maybe you use ASP.NET instead of PHP. But again, this is something you have to worry about if you're building a web-based form, which, again, can't only be done with SQL. You need HTML, some server-side language such as .NET or PHP, as well as SQL.